Good morning, everyone. We live in the world of online shopping, of eBay, of Amazon, don't we? Thousands of parcels are delivered to people's home each day. But in my experience, online shopping is filled with dangers. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to see a thing in 3 dimensions before I buy it. I remember when I bought shoes online, and I had high expectations, high hopes. But once it was delivered, I quickly found out that I would have to chop off half of my feet to make those shoes fit properly. Now, I'm not alone in this. There is a story of someone who ordered 50 chairs for his office at an online auction. He had high expectations, but ended up getting these little primary school chairs. Well, high expectations, cruel disappointments. This is what we will be thinking about today in the story of Samson. Samson is seen as the James Bond of the Bible, the biblical bad boy, good-looking, strong, a loner, a playboy, full of talent and potential. A great man who proved a great disappointment to God. The strongest man in the Bible, yet one of the weakest. A real man who ends up in a real mess. Yet God, in His wonderful providence, uses him to deliver His people. So let's dig into our story today. I've got 3 headings: the undying love, the ungodly judge, the unorthodox salvation. So firstly, the undying love of God. Well, human love is so conditional, isn't it? Often we say love and respect is a 2-way street. If you love me, then I'll love you back. If you respect me, I will respect you back. But this passage teaches us God's love is not like that. It's unconditional. The sin-addicted people of Israel did evil again, and this time they were given over to the Philistines. But it's interesting to note that their love has gone so cold that this time they didn't even cry out to the Lord. They are so rebellious that they don't even ask for help. But you see, nobody asked God to save them, but God never gives up on His people. He still raises a judge to deliver them. Now, do you see the loving nature of our God? Do you see His kindness? My brothers and sisters, our God whom we worship is very loving and very faithful. His love never grows cold. Even when we reject Him and turn our backs on Him, even when we don't cry out to Him, still He comes after us. Still His heart beats for us with love. He doesn't say, "Oh, if you don't love me back, I will abandon you." Yes, He disciplines us, He teaches us through affliction, but He never abandons us. He's the Father who listens even before we cry to Him. Now, if you're someone who has been running away from God, you might have rejected Him and lived your life for pleasure. My brother, my sister, there is grace for you. There is always a way back home. Come back to Him who loves you. Come to Him who hears you, even before you cry. So firstly, the undying love of God. Secondly, the ungodly judge. So God, who never gives up on His people, works out a plan to save them. The story of Samson begins with a nativity story. Samson's parents have fertility issues. They cannot have children. But the angel announces that they will have a son, and he is to be a Nazirite. Therefore, no razor, no fermented drink, no touching a dead body. And he will deliver Israel from her enemies. Verse 21, the boy grows, and the blessing of the Lord is with him. He's an ordinary-looking guy, but there's nothing ordinary about him. God's Spirit makes him unusually strong. We're told that he can tear a lion apart with bare hands. He's so strong that he alone kills 1,000 enemies all by himself. He's a one-man army, if you will. He has a very hopeful start. But as the boy grows old and turns into a man, high expectations are dashed to pieces. This man of God is a mess. He has serious temper issues. He's violent, impulsive, sexually addicted, emotionally immature, and extremely selfish. He throws his calling as a Nazirite out of the window by touching the dead carcass of a lion and reveling in drinking parties. If his desires are not met, he goes about burning fields and killing people in his rage. He's driven by his lust. He ends up with multiple love affairs with the Palestinian women. God's word and Samson's parents are dead against it, but he doesn't care. Driven by lust, he doesn't even hesitate to go to prostitutes. His ultimate downfall is also brought about by his lust. He falls in love with darling Delilah, who manipulates him and uses the "you don't love me" card, and tricks him into telling her the secret of his strength. And next he sees himself betrayed, cornered by Palestinian leaders, his eyes gouged out, and surrounded by enemies who jeer at him and put him as an amusing spectacle, a trophy in the temple of Dagon. What went wrong with this judge? What are some lessons that we can learn from this sad downfall? Well, this story warns us to stop flirting with sin. If sin destroyed Samson, the strongest man, Solomon, the wisest man, and David, the man after God's own heart, then it can outsmart, overpower, and overcome you. So don't flirt with it. Run away from it. Cut it off from its source. There is a story of 3 Australian students who were hospitalized after trying to pet a fox. Foxes are innocent, cute-looking creatures, but they can tear you apart. In the same way, sin looks innocent, and you want to pet it, but that is deadly. Well, what are some ways we flirt with sin? For example, watching questionable videos or movies and thinking that it will do no harm. Talking about people in such a way that it easily becomes gossip. Holding on to money so tightly that it slowly takes over your life. If you're someone who flirts with sin, the story of Samson says, be warned. Because it might be that you, like him, wake up one day and find yourself shackled by the power of sin. Like him, you may wake up one day and find yourself in shame. You eventually pay the miserable price of flirting with sin. Your marriage is broken, a trust is betrayed, your witness is damaged, your reputation goes down the tubes. Your children are devastated, carrying deep wounds, most likely for the rest of their lives. So don't flirt with sin, my brother, my sister. It doesn't matter how strong or smart or successful you are. If you flirt with sin, it will destroy you. So first, the undying love of God. Secondly, the ungodly judge. Finally, the unorthodox salvation. Now, Samson has messed up so badly, he stands there eyeless in the temple of Dagon as a ruined man. But is there hope for him? Well, there is always hope with God. God is the God of second chances. God is still in charge, and this story tells us that God can use even the stupidity and disobedience of his people to achieve his purposes. So there is hope. Bible tells us the hair on his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. As Samson's hair began to grow, his strength began to return. One night, as the Philistines were having a drunken feast to their false god Dagon, someone came up with the brilliant idea of dragging out the sightless Samson so they could make fun of him. Samson was guided by a servant to the foundational pillars of the temple. And in a final act of vengeance, he called out to God for his strength. And God gave him supernatural power one more time. Now I want you to picture him at the end with his arms stretched out in the very crucible of evil, in the temple of Dagon, ready voluntarily to sacrifice himself in the process. Let me die, verse 31. Then picture him pulling down the very foundations of evil. Does it remind you of anyone? Is there any similarity with another death, another deliverer? Standing and facing darkness and bringing it down by his own voluntary death. Does it remind you of anyone? Well, Samson and Jesus have so many differences. But in some ways, Samson's end is a picture, a shadow, a trailer of God's salvation in Jesus. Both Samson and Jesus were betrayed by someone who had acted as a friend, Delilah and Judas. Both were handed over to the Gentile oppressors. Both were tortured and chained and put on public display to be mocked. Both died with their arms outstretched, and both appeared completely struck down by their enemies, yet both in their death crushed their enemy. Samson, the Philistines, and Dagon. For Jesus, the ultimate enemy, Satan. On that cross, Jesus brought the power of Satan to nothing, disarming him. As Samson killed many as he died, so it took the death of Jesus to kill Satan. Just as a trailer points forward to the movie, Samson's deliverance points forward to greater deliverance. Let us look to him who is greater than Samson, who has saved us by his own death, who by his outstretched arm has welcomed us into the heart of the Father. Let us worship him.